Hello and welcome to Gravity 2 PDF. This is going to be a longer tutorial or guide on how to use our plugin. We're going to start at the very beginning of how you set up a document, create some fields on a PDF document, and then go through creating a Gravity form and then mapping the form to Gravity 2 PDF plugin. Now the goal of the plugin is to make a Gravity form and then populate a PDF document using Gravity form entries. So I'm going to show you what that process looks like, sort of start to finish. And we're going to start with a Word document that I've created. Now, this Word document is just a simple Word, file, and I've listed one of each of the field types that we support with the plugin. So we have a text box, paragraph, date field, checkbox, radio buttons, and a drop down and an email address. So I actually have these in here by mistake. Let's get rid of those lines. We don't need those. And these, the checkboxes and the radio buttons, we'll just make a note here. These were created by using the bullet library in Word. Now, the next step, this doesn't really affect it at all. Adobe cannot read those automatically to create a form, but I just put them in there so we sort of have a representation of what we need to do on our PDF. So when we start with a form, this could be a contract, an agreement, a lease, a tax form, whatever. We need to create a PDF form for our plugin to work. So what we need to do is we're going to save this Word document as a PDF. And I'm just going to save it on my desktop and overwrite the one that I have here. And so what happens after we save it as a Adobe is we can open this with Adobe Acrobat. Now you need an Acrobat Pro. There's some free tools out there on the market to create a form, PDF form. So I'm going to show you what the next step is here. Now that we have a blank base PDF that just has our labels on it, we need to convert this into a form. So with Acrobat Pro, we are going to go create form, and we're going to use our current document. And now we have a PDF form. Well, the PDF form is not really complete. We have a couple things we want to change. We want to make this a paragraph box. So what we're going to do is we're going to right-click that field, and we're going to call this a paragraph box. We're going to go to options, and we're going to convert this into a multi-line field. And because it's going to be a paragraph box, we're going to open this up a little bit and make it bigger so we can put things in there. And actually, while we're at it, we're going to close this for a second. And we're going to go to Tools. And we're going to edit text and images. And we're going to see if we can actually just take this line out of there because we don't need that anymore. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is come back and continue working on our form. And the way we can do this is go to Tools. And we don't want to be doing content editing anymore. We want to go to Forms, and we want to edit the form. And now we have our text box and our paragraph box done. We're going to do, we have our date field is complete. And now we want to add some checkboxes. And to do that, we're going to add a new field, and we're going to create some checkboxes. So Adobe will make a checkbox, and we're going to label that checkbox 1. And I'm going to zoom in here on this checkbox, and we're going to resize this thing. Just make that a little smaller and cover our little check. And what I like to do with checkboxes is I like to actually select them and then copy them and paste them and then just put them where I need them. So then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to paste that again, and we're going to put it where we need it, paste it again, put it where we need it. Now, those are not aligned correctly, so what we're going to do is we're going to select all of them, and then while they're selected, we're going to right click on one of them, come down to align, and we're going to align them to the left. So now those are nice, and we can actually select them again, and we can go to distribute, and let's distribute these vertically so now they're spaced evenly also. Now the plugin requires that these fields all have a name. So when we create a gravity form, what we're actually doing is we're telling the gravity form, put this entry on this field. So these are not unique names right now. And you can see what Adobe has done is made them 0, 1, 2, 3 because they're all the same names. So we need to name these something different. And to do that, we right click that and we hit rename. Now you see I'm going to right click the second one, rename that to 2, and you'll see that the 1 pound 0 will turn to 1 once these are all renamed. So this one will be 3, and this last one will be 4. And you can see that this 1 pound 0 did turn to 1. So now these all have a unique name, and we'll be able to map a gravity form to those individual checkboxes in a few minutes. Let's finish up our form here. We need to create a radio group. Now radio, let's say we had a form that had multiple buttons. We're actually creating different groups. So what we're going to call this is just group 1. And the field we just made is choice 1. So I'm going to make this a little smaller too. And then again, with the radio buttons, I like to copy them and then paste them and then move them where I like them. Okay, and then paste again and move it where I like it. And then again, we're going to select these values. We're going to align them. We'll align them to the left, and then we'll right click again, and then we're going to distribute them vertically so now they're spaced evenly. Now, again, we have a group. This is good. All of our choices are assigned to this group. And then we need to rename these again so that they have individual values, or we are not going to be able to map these to our gravity form. Oh, that guy didn't get renamed, so then we're going to rename this to 2, and we're good there. Okay, so further down our form, we have our drop down and our email. And I believe our form is finished. It looks pretty good, so we're going to save this again. I'm just going to save it on the desktop and overwrite it. And I'm going to close the form editing tool. And we'll close the tools completely. And you can see that now we have a PDF form where there are these fields here that we can checkbox them. That didn't exist just a few minutes ago. So we have our form, and we've saved our form, and now we need to get to work on the site itself. Okay, so we'll get rid of that, and we're going to go over to, I have a test site set up, and we're going to go over to my test site. And you'll see that this test site is a basic WordPress install. Okay, there's nothing done here for the theme, and we need to log in. And all that's been done on this site is Gravity Forms have been installed and Gravity 2 PDF is installed. Otherwise, it's just a base WordPress install. So when we're doing this, I like to create the gravity form first. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new gravity form. And we're going to call this field types. And we'll call it test. We're going to create the form. So the way I like to create forms when I'm mapping these to a PDF is I like to open the PDF so I can look at the values that I need to collect the information on. So I want to collect information in this text box. I need to create a text box on my gravity form. And I like to name them the same thing that's on my PDF. So we're just going to call this text box. And then our next value on our PDF is our paragraph box. So we're going to use our paragraph box. We're going to name this paragraph box. Okay, and then our next one on our PDF is our date field, and we can see the name of the field that we're collecting is their date field. So we're gonna for the date field, we're actually going to take an advanced field. We're going to do a date, and we're going to use the calendar icon for that, so we can actually use the date picker. Okay, and then moving on our field, we have our checkboxes. So we have 4 checkboxes that we need to collect information for, and those are standard fields. So we need to take checkboxes and create an option for this. Now, by default, Gravity Forms is giving us 3 choices. We actually need to make another choice. We're going to call that 4th choice, and we're going to call this checkboxes. Okay? And then we're going to continue on our form. The next option here is our radio options. So we need to create some radio buttons in our form. Okay, and we're going to call this radio buttons. And let's see, we have 1, 2, 3 options for our radio. So 1, 2, 3 options for our radio buttons. Okay, and then we have a drop-down box, which we're going to use a drop-down box. Now, drop-down boxes can have as many choices in them as you want, because they're all you can only select one output choice in a drop-down box at a time. So we can have as many choices in this drop-down as we want that will only go to the drop-down field on our PDF. So let me show you how this can work. We'll go drop down, and then we're going to add some predefined bulk choices. Let's take the states. So we have 50 options here, and we can pick any of those options to fill into our PDF. And then last but not least is our email, and we want to use an advanced field for our email because this will have Gravity Forms will actually validate that this is an email address when the user enters the email address. And our plugin Gravity to PDF actually can use the email address to then send a user the completed PDF form. So now that we have our form finished, we're going to update our form, and our field type test is saved and completed. Now the next step in the process is coming down to the plugin, and we're going to create a new merge, and we're going to call this field types test. And we're going to call the file name field types test. Now this is the file name is the name of the PDF that's output when it generates a filled in PDF. So you can name that anything you want. You can also include the ability to do a timestamp. So maybe it's important for you to timestamp when this is done or have a unique file name, and the way we can do that is by using the timestamp function. Now let's browse for our PDF. We're going to upload the file, and we have it saved on our desktop, and we're just going to use that over, and then we're going to insert this in there. And what happens is the plugin, you saw it real quickly there, it actually reads the PDF document and lists all the fields. So once we've read the PDF, we have to tell the plugin what Gravity Form do we want to use, and we're going to use the field type test that we just created. Now, what happened here is the text box and the text box on our Gravity Form and on our PDF happen to be the very first result, and it's the first field. So we're going to add as many columns as we need to match all of our Gravity Form fields to all of our PDF fields. So we're going to pick our paragraph box, we're going to pick our date, we're just going to keep adding these until we've matched all of the fields. So we have our checkbox first choice, and so you got to map each individual choice that we've created on the PDF and on the Gravity Form. So checkbox second choice, checkbox second choice, and this is where it comes really important on not only your PDF but also your Gravity Form, to name things in a way that you can understand what the field is going to be, where the field's going to be placing the value when it creates the merge. So keep moving down our list here a little bit. We got our radio button first choice, and radio. See, the name on our PDF is Group 1 Choice 1, and I'll show you that here on the PDF. We have our radio button group, so Group 1 Choice 1. So in the plugin, this is labeled Group 1 Choice 1. So whatever they're labeled in the PDF document, the plugin will read the field name. So we got a couple more to go here. Let's we have second choice, second choice, and then our third choice. And then we got our drop down box to go. And last but not least, we have email address. So drop down and email. Email, and then last but not least, email address. Okay, so now all of our fields from our gravity form have been assigned to a field on the PDF. So then at this point we have to tell the plugin how do we want to deliver the completed PDF. And we have some options. We can do this as an email or direct download. If you have the paid version, we have integrations with Dropbox and OneDrive, even FTP. So, but for now we're going to do email, and we can do two ways. If the plugin has detected that you're using an email address, we can collect the value from the gravity form, which is the email address from this field on the gravity form. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do the email address that we enter in the gravity form is going to be the person that receives this email with the completed PDF. The other option is to hit other, and if you hit other, you could send it to any email address you want. It would be an email address you define, so email at any email address you type in. So we're going to use other so that the gravity form supplies the email address that we sent this to, and we're going to call this field types PDF. And then we're going to say, here is your completed PDF document. Okay. Now we also have the ability to add multiple deliveries. We could say, okay, well, let's add another email, or we could add a direct download. But for now, I'm just going to leave this alone. And then lastly, we have two more options. We can password and flatten the PDF. We are going to flatten it. We're going to leave the password as no. Passwording a PDF locks it down completely. It cannot be saved or edited. So I would only use that option if you have a really critical that you don't want the data shared. Okay, so now that we have our merge completed, it's completely defined. The last step is we are going to come back and add a new page on our WordPress site. We're going to just open this in a new tab. We're just going to call this Gravity to PDF Test. And we're going to put our form on that page. And we created this form, and we can enable Ajax. It gives it a little bit smoother gravity form function, and then we're going to publish this page that we just created. Okay, and now we have this page on our WordPress site. So we're going to go to that page and see what happens here. So we have our test form, and what we're going to do is start to fill this out. And we're just going to call this field types test in that text box, and let's go get some paragraph sample text. Just use this and say, okay, cool. We'll just take that text, just copy that, and we're just going to paste that there. We're going to do our date picker. Let's pick, let's just pick a date in the future, I guess. We'll pick January 1st, why not? And then let's randomly select our checkboxes. We'll take the first one and the third one. And then we'll take our first radio button choice, and we're going to say District of Columbia, and we're going to type in email address. And this is the email address we're going to send this completed PDF to. So once we hit submit, the plugin will redirect you to the confirmation page, which we didn't set up confirmation. This is just the default Gravity form confirmation. And now what we can do is head over to Gmail, and we should receive, in a second here, that's the older one. Let's just refresh this here. We should receive our completed merged PDF in just a minute here. Okay, took a couple seconds here, but the delivery of our email is here. So let's navigate over to this, and here's your completed PDF, just like we said. And let's open this document and see what we have. Okay, it should have the field type test. Here's the value we just pasted in, and District of Columbia 1 and 3, and our email address. So this is just a basic PDF form, but this shows you the step-by-step, start-to-finish process. And you can collect any information you want to create any sort of form that you need. You know, whether that's a contract, an agreement, tax forms, medical forms, whatever. The process is the same, and we'll go through and show you some more tutorials, but this is just a sample of what you can do with our plugin Gravity 2 PDF.